5,
6,
7,
8,
9.
10.
Yes, I gave you a long one because it's been so long since we recorded together, like by ourselves.
This is true. Guess
when was the last
that?
time? Do you remember?
I can't.
It was the first week of February.
Are you serious?
We recorded together. Yes, because then we had a bunch of guests. I had Sayo. I don't know.
We will see.
We might not be. Depends. How you doing, Sheila? What's crack-a-lackin'?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great.
I just realized you got them Apple headphones again.
It's daylight savings time. Daylight savings. Not sure. But
it's savings, I think. That's what I hear on the news.
That's exciting. It was 65 degrees running these streets. In Philly it was.
I still had my winter coat on. Wow.
Did you go outside today?
Yes, I moved my vehicle. That's my excuse to go outside. Move the car.
I went outside this weekend and I realized that I have a new kink, something that makes me very excited and delighted when I see it. Sorry. I went to a cafe this weekend and behind the bar were two strapping young black men. About 20, 24, no older than that. Broad shoulders, whipping up motherfucking lattes, Ethiopian pour-overs, handing out croissants and shit. And I was
were they buttery, flaky, warm?
I was like, this is wonderful. It wasn't like an emaciated, tattooed, ratty head hipster. You know, it was a strapping, tall, sexy black man with good music taste. It was like bumping and it was wonderful. And shout out to all the black men that are baristas. You know, the original man was Ethiopian. The original coffee was from Ethiopia. It is only right that we are continuing this legacy with the roasting. So that's a thing. I really enjoyed that. I'll update you on further kinks. I'm failing forward. I'm failing miserably. Aside from that, life is a fucking mess. No. I took a leap of faith and I vended at King of Prussia Mall. If you're from Philadelphia, you know the motherfucking KOP is a big deal. It is it's where you could go to Gucci and shit. Like you could go get Louis Vuittons or whatever. Like it's a luxury mall. And I was like, oh, let me take Sable up there and make some money. And I didn't. I didn't make any money. And I might go under. No, I won't. But I'm very scared. But I also realized, like, my mind wanted to tell the story that, like, oh, you know, just negative Nelly. And I was like, no, this is information. You're learning around about what works. This is information about your
what
setup.
Your demographic is.
Like, maybe you had too much going on. Maybe you need to simplify. Maybe you need to focus on just, like, 2 products. It was just...
Maybe you need to have somebody with you that will be that person that goes up to people because you're not that person.
We needed to. After a while, I was doing it. I was like, but the thing with kiosks, because of, I think the nail people were the first ones to ruin it for like kiosk salesmen. Remember going to the mall and the nail person that if you shine it, it has like the
buffer.
Yeah. I think they've ruined it for everybody. So when people see a kiosk, they immediately just like it's like I'm a homeless person asking for change. I like glaze over and like all of a sudden they can't hear you or see you and like their immediate response is no, sorry, I don't have anything. I can't do that.
You're like the perfume bitch in Boscov's.
Boscov's.
Shout out to Boscov's.
Is Boscov's still open?
I feel that it may be.
I hope that they are. But you know what I want to be closed? JC motherfucking Penney. If that bitch don't die.
JC Penney can never close. Are you kidding? JC Penney is a fucking vibe.
No,
JC Penney is a home goods store of here. You got home goods at JC Penney in Philly?
We have home goods, but we don't have JC Penney.
No, there's not a JC Penney home goods. I'm saying they're up here. They have like a home goods section There's like a J.C. Penney kind of warehouse thing up here, and you can get straight furniture from there.
I just
They have all the
I
knickknacks.
just feel like whenever they talk about retail dying, reports always like J.C. Penney is at an all-time low. They've just laid off 8,000 workers, and this bitch is still
J.C. Penney
around.
will never go under,
It's
ever.
like I built this shit. I'm
Right? They
motherfucker.
like
I'm King
what?
Kong. Whatever the fuck Denzel
What's
said.
that movie? What's that reference that you just fucked up? Tell me.
Training Day, bitch. Motherfucker.
Ooh, please don't say that.
Also, I
It's
watched
not going
him
well.
on. I don't know their name. They
Jesus and Jesus. Remember when you called that man Jesus?
Jesus and Maron.
And Mero?
I love them. And I also watched it with Nas as well. And I'm just like, Nas, I want to see you burst into laughter. You're just too cool. Like, I want to see you laugh.
You want to see Nas burst into something
I know. I
else.
want to see you burst on my belly. Shit. On my back.
5 minutes in, and here we are. Welcome back.
How are you?
I am experiencing deep sorrow and sadness.
Oh.
And I know
Really?
I'm smiling right now, but like I have been experiencing such guilt with joy because I am engulfed in this Ukraine massacre that is happening. I really am struggling. Every day I get up, and I'm not saying this is healthy, but the first thing I do is turn on the news. The first thing I do is read. I've just been listening to all kinds of podcasts. I listened to this podcast with this woman where she was saying goodbye to her husband, and then she was trying to go back. The conditions, how this man, he's trying to look after her parents, but he can't go out into the streets because there's like shelling and shooting. And the last time he saw her parents home, there were no windows, but they did have a roof, so they could be okay. Below 8-degree weather, they're taking the snow and trying to melt the snow so that they can have drinking water. They're running out of food. I mean, they just reported today that an 8-year-old child died of starvation in one of the cities. The mother that was bombed at that maternity ward, she was the mother that was like clutching her stomach, and she was on that makeshift stretcher. Her and her child died. It's just like, I'm having a hard time because the first thing I go to is like when I hear something like that, I think that we think about it on a very macro level. And the first thing I do is go to the micro of like, there are people, yes, there are people that have been sheltering in subway stations in Kiev for 2 weeks. That means they have, where are they getting food? How are they getting water? How are they going to the bathroom? What does it smell like down there? How cold must they be? Is there any light? Like, people are menstruating. People are diabetic.
People have babies.
People have like their
pregnant.
basic needs,
Yeah.
right? There are basic human needs that cannot be met in these conditions. And somehow these people are still banding together and trying to survive and trying to protect their country. It's a lot. And then I could think about how hard we've all worked in life, right? Imagine you're at home, you have nothing to do with this macro shit, and all of a sudden your entire home is gone. And the only thing you can do is grab what you can, put it on your back, and you and JoJo flee to what? To like, there are no guarantees. There's no promises where you're going. Your whole life is just gone. I don't know if I'm strong enough to face that.
Oh, well,
and to
I don't think you have a choice. It's just like you keep waking up, your heart keeps beating.
you do have a choice. People end things all the time. I'm just saying, like, I just don't know. I just don't know how people do it. I really don't. And I think that we're really privileged. I think I was talking to you about it, how, the U.S. doesn't fight wars on their soil. So we don't have any real idea about what that is, like what's happening. And my heart just bleeds. So like when I go on Instagram and shit and I see like these reels of people putting on their new clothes and showing me their new Fenty, foundation and shit. It's like, I don't give a fuck right now. I don't care. And I actually get angry with them. And that's not healthy. But I get angry at people experiencing joy and acting like the world goes on. And then I get angry with myself when I forget. Because I feel like there's no room
what are
to
you
forget.
supposed to do? I think
I don't know. I don't.
I completely understand that sentiment, and
I know it's not healthy.
or it's just it's just a continuous thing because it's not Kyiv, it's another place. It's the Congo. If it's not Kyiv, it's Syria. If it's not Kyiv, it's Palestine. If it's not Kyiv, it's fucking North Philly. Like it feels like I don't know. It feels like that is just the consequence of being a human in the modern world. Like that's what happens.
Speaking of that, Jason Rosario, the gentleman we had on, I think it was October or early or end of September. He posted this, and it spoke to me, and I reposted it. But it said, "I'm washing my face before bed while a country is on fire. It feels dumb to wash my face and dumb not to. It has never been this way, and it has always been this way. Mm-hmm. Someone has always clinked a cocktail glass in one hemisphere as someone loses a home in another, while someone falls in love in the same apartment building where someone grieves the fact that suffering, mundanity, and beauty coincide is unbearable and both remarkable." And that's it.
The cycle of life, death, disease, and
like, what is this all about? I'm on your shit now, but for a very different reason. And it's not helping that I'm about to get my period. No, child, and this cat keeps eating my fucking food.
I hope it makes the moments of joy a little bit even more sweeter, right? Because just like you said, you never know. We don't know what is destined tomorrow. So
you know what? That's a good way to look at it.
It doesn't help anybody feeling guilty, but I think it helps you deepen your human experience when you feel the highest highs, because inevitably we all going to feel some lows, maybe not as drastically, but
yeah. Well, a high I tried. Speaking of Jason Rosario, he actually posted that Karun Bin was going to be at Radio City. And so I was like, oh, shit. And so I bought myself a ticket and I went.
Would you call?
And I went by myself.
Karun Bin?
That's what I Googled it before I jumped on this bitch. Is that not how you say it?
I don't know. It's a very strange word. I thought it was Krung Bin, but who knows?
Krung Bin could also be it. I tend to like Karunga Bin. Oh. I just feel like there should be 3 syllables.
Karunga Bin. I like that.
Yeah, much better.
Stronger.
It's much Karun Bin. It just, it feels grounded.
3 syllables.
They were incredible.
I bet.
It was just a sea of white folks losing their minds, and I was smack dab in the middle, orchestra seating, and their covers were incredible, their changes were incredible. It was just like, wow. They were like on these little spaceships on the stage, these elevated spaceships. They didn't do too much, but the vibe was like so, I don't know how to describe it. It was top 5 concerts I've been to. And I've been to a lot of concerts, I realized. I was running it down like, wow, I've actually been to a lot. They were incredible.
Yeah, you guys should check them out.
You should definitely check them out. We definitely shouted them out on Hot Shit before, but make sure you check them out. I don't know if I spelled it right here, but KHRUANGBIN. Check them out. And lastly, Krung Bin. I think you're right. Karunga Bin is better though. Lastly, I am full of shame.
Oh, not the shame. We ain't doing that no more.
Shame. Guess what I spent $22 on?
Fenty.
Candy Crush. And I can't stand myself for it. But my competitive nature. I'm mad too. I'm mad too that I lay in bed after maybe a half a edible and I just get this urge to win. And then I get so angry because if you lose, then like it's not Candy Crush. It's a different game actually, but it's just like Candy Crush. But this one is really addictive. What is it called? Royal Match. And so in Royal Match, they give you all of these bonuses if you win a level. And then if you win another level, you just keep getting all these bonuses. And it's so much easier to continue to win because you have all of these like, it's like a power jet pack that you get. And then if you lose one level, it's all gone. It's all gone.
In the socket.
And then you're on a super hard level and you can't get past it. And so I kept buying these like $4.99 packs. I'm like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like in the scheme of things, Antoinette, you would deserve joy, right? I'm trying to convince myself.
I know that's right. You better go ahead. You better.
No, I was real irritated when I looked up and 48 hours passed and I had spent $22
you looked
in
at
this.
your
I said,
bank statement
that
like,
is a meal.
somebody scammed me. Somebody stole it from me.
I definitely almost called American Express and was like, excuse me.
Why are you buying Candy Crush? Like, I don't even.
It's not, it's Royal Match. I find that Royal Match is better than Candy Crush. I'm obsessed with Candy Crush, but I just got to a place with Candy Crush where I'm like,
it's not given what
I need something different. Okay. And then Royal Match came and like the incentive for me, you play on teams. It's just so cool.
Word.
So shout out to Single Life and playing Royal Match in the bed till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Get it how I get it. Live how I
I'm doing it. What Mariah say?
I'm doing the best I can with what I got. I know that's right.
So moving right along, I'm sure you know by now, but an announcement that we have is that we will be at the Roots Picnic June.
Yay! That was me clapping and making.
What day is it?
4th, 3rd and 4th?
Or is it the 2nd and 3rd?
Damn! How we gonna announce something and not know what we're doing, raggedy bitches?
Oh no. Anyway, it's the first weekend of June, y'all. And if you can't look at a calendar and figure that out, then y'all asking us to do all the work for you. So come on out.
Saturday, June 4th and Sunday, June 5th. The Roots
I can't stand us. We
is an
both had the wrong
music
dates.
festival created and hosted by hip-hop group The Roots. The festival is held in Philadelphia at the Man Fairmount Park. Join us for 2 days of fun and
festivities. I saw you was about to fumble that joint.
I was like, philanthropy.
You had it. You're like fun. You know what happens is your eyes your eyes go a little like, oh shit, I don't know what to do.
PH? Fuck it. No.
You said fun is not spelled with the PH.
Well, it's the phonetically PH. Anyway, girl, mind your business.
All right, moving right along. Hot shit. So I recently discovered the white god that is Little Dicky. I don't know how I didn't know who this was, but I'm obsessed with him. I was texting you at like 4 o'clock in the morning, like, you gotta watch this. You just gotta. And I'm really convinced that is your white husband. That is your white Jewish husband.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, there's black folks that don't like him, so I'm hoping that he didn't do anything crazy or say anything crazy, and I'm not aware.
Of course, they're going to make somebody.
But he can rap, so you could be mad all day, but he can. I've also discovered his show, Dave. You can watch it on Hulu. Masterpiece.
What's
Brilliant.
The comedy kind of like? It's is everything okay?
Yeah, she's tearing something up. Go ahead. She's being bad right now.
What's the comedy comparable to? Is it like Simpsons?
It's honestly, you would like it. It's like a mix between not The Office where they look at the camera, but it's like a mix between like The Office and Curb. It's like that kind of comedy it's very dry. It can be very dry, but it's funny and it's shit that would never happen seemingly in real life. But he's hilarious. He's hilarious. Like, but his joke is like, what did he say? He says something. Sorry, I live in Brooklyn. Ignore this, everybody. Some kid was making fun of him. All right, it's just embarrassing at this point.
It's giving an intro to Around the Way Crew.
I know. I'm sorry. Some kid was making fun of him, and he said, "Oh yeah. Well, your household's probably terribly mismanaged." And I died. I was like, "That's hilarious." And I can't wait to say that to somebody. But he's much funnier than I am. But he that show,
I'll
I
bust it
really
open for
enjoy
a
it.
Jewish boy that makes me laugh. Stop fucking playing with me.
That's what I'm saying. He gonna have you wide open. You'll be like, Nas, who?
What? No.
You'll be like, Lil Dicky, come
I was
here.
mug the shit out of Little Dicky if Nas walked in. I'd be like, Pharaoh King. I'm so sorry.
My white king, excuse me, my black king is here. I've also discovered ping pod, and for all the New Yorkers, table
Ping
tennis.
pod or ping pong?
Pod.
Why?
That's the name of the place. I'm giving it free advertisement. You can rent tables by like the half hour or the hour, and it's 24 hours.
Wow.
And so you go in, and once you rent that, you just have like a little I don't know, kind of email that comes to your phone. You scan it, and you go inside, and you play table tennis. And table tennis is actually a lot of fun.
It is.
So you play table tennis?
Yeah, girl. My mom worked at a Jewish camp when I was 9 years old. I was the only black thing in the entire camp. It's probably a source of trauma if I really go back and think about what had happened here. And I have a story to share. I'll share it one day. But tennis was my shit. I was like, I'm an athlete.
Tennis or table tennis?
Well, I learned tennis, and then they had a ping pong table as well. And I was like,
and you're good at it. You know how to like spin the ball and do like the trick stuff?
No, ma'am.
Girl, I know you're not in this drawer. I'm sorry. She just crawled out of the drawer. I can't with this cat. That's what she was doing. Okay. Well, we should play table tennis. I think that's a Patreon episode. No, we would, because I get really aggressive because I don't like to lose.
Well,
and like angry.
That sounds.
But it's a lot of fun. I also have one more thing, Shanti.
Go, girl, go off with the hot shit. You fucking putting the people.
I haven't been here for a while, so here I am.
Let's go.
There's a new song. If you want to have your heart broken and like weep and cry yourself to sleep about a love lost that never came back, who kind of did you wrong, but you still hope would come back, there's a song for you. It's called Jealous, and it is by a black gentleman named Labyrinth. And he could sing his ass off.
But isn't Labyrinth the one behind all of Euphoria's music?
Bitch, I don't know. Is it?
I love you.
I have not researched Euphoria's music the way you have. Most likely, yes.
Okay.
Well, anyway, that just gives him more cred. He is a brilliant writer, I feel, and this song is beautiful, and everybody should go listen to it and cry.
Yeah, he's responsible for all of the Euphoria, but yeah, he's a black British man. Go ahead, bruh. Get it.
Wow, a king. Anyway,
and did you listen to the song with he and your girl? Did you know
Zendaya?
Zendaya be singing?
She sounds so pretty. That's the song I sent you, and you tried to play me. Oh, that's his song?
Oh my God. Okay.
Now I understand why my friend played them together. It didn't connect.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. Well, yeah, that's the song that the boy in the show, when he was strumming his little guitar, was singing for an hour.
And then talk about, it's a little something I'm working on. Nigga, you just had a hook. There was a remix. Puff Daddy came on a remix. Like, a little ditty bop I was working on. I'm still working on it. I was like, even she in that scene was like,
no, she wasn't. Stop.
She was like, nigga.
Time is not real anyway, Shanti.
Exactly.
Things that must be stopped. You had something here.
Things that aren't real are these eyelashes. While I was at the KOP, King of Prussia Mall, now listen, I saw the whites and the blacks. Everybody and their mama had these eyelashes. And I'm just perturbed by it's the eyelashes and the baby hairs. And at this point, you look like a caricature. You look crazy. These little girls had no forehead space because they're
baby hair was,
and they are dry. They're not even fresh. It's like they lay on these swirls down and trying to get 3 days, 4 days out of them. I'm like, you're not
You gotta
washing
redo
your
baby hair
face,
daily.
baby. It's dry and lifting, and your eyelashes are getting stuck with the swirl. So at this point, your seeing is impaired. I just have no tolerance for it. It's ugly. And I'm gonna say it.
Oh no!
It's ugly.
Not ugly.
It is. It's ugly. You look like Snuffleupagus. You look like the character from the Muppets, the guitar player.
I don't know. You called these girls ugly.
No, I didn't say they are ugly. I said the style is ugly. It's not beautiful.
Let me see the style one more time.
I don't know. It's just like
if y'all can see Shanti trying to make baby hair out of her eyelash.
It's everybody. It's everybody. The whites look even more ridiculous doing it. And these young white girls, oh girl. And these girls are 11 years old in the suburbs. I don't know if they're from the suburbs. I'm going to take that back. I'm sorry.
Don't be racist.
They are. This is how they talking. Yeah, bitch. Like fuck. Like I was just like, wow. They're like 11 years old. Like
you was talking like that at 11,
but not these little white girls doing it. Like I was.
You were flabbergasted.
It was a very interesting. Go to a mall and it is a social. It's a social discovery. It is a place.
We don't really have malls here like that.
Y'all don't?
What mall I ever take you to?
I don't know.
There's not many malls.
I mean, New York is it's just a superior place. It's just
one big mall, maybe. All I know is sometimes the eyelashes look good if you pay your little coin. But everybody, you know what it is? Everybody wants to look like a filter now. Or literally a cartoon character, like a Disney character, where you got these big eyes and these big lashes, and you don't have any pores on your fucking face. And you know what it is too? They want to look like Mrs. Incredible.
I don't want pores. I agree. I don't want to look like I have skin.
We gotta stop with this.
I don't want to look like myself. No, don't get I don't want to walk out looking like myself. Fuck that. Can I?
Well, we were talking about this, and I will take it a step further and say, and this is not me. Maybe I shouldn't. I might get canceled.
I know.
But these BBLs, baby.
These ant butts.
Y'all look like ants.
Look?
And you said you just look exaggerated. You just look exaggerated. I keep seeing them.
Just imagine an ant butt. And then little skinny legs.
It's just these diaper booties. I'm like, oh. And I have seen them done well, up close and personal, where I'm like, that actually looks
amazing.
Like your body. Like, okay, cool. But apparently you got to get massages. You got to do all kinds of stuff to get this ant butt to look like your butt. When the doctor says maybe you shouldn't go up a size, trust that doctor. And if the doctor is not warning you about the size of the butt you about to put on you, don't go to that doctor. And then there's so many big bone women like me, like chunky women that are getting the BBLs and they have zero back fat, right? None. Because it's all put in their butt. And then they got fat everywhere else. They have zero back fat, zero stomach fat, and then their arms. It's like I can tell. It's like I can tell that doesn't match.
But doesn't matter to them. I don't think so. I think it's like, I got a fat ass, dude.
But it looks like Mrs. Incredible. It looks like
it's giving. It's giving insect.
Maybe we're haters. We're haters.
Arachnoids. What's the scientific name for?
Arachnophobia is spiders, right?
I think
the
they're
spiders
part
got
of
the big old
Iraq. God, you smart scientists people are just so upset with us.
They didn't have that. Just doesn't even make sense. Why you can't just call them ants? You got to say Iraq and all this other shit.
It gives it better. Yes, arachnid. Mm-hmm. True.
That's dumb. Moving right along to another ant butt, Kim and Kanye.
She's not the original.
That's not the original ant butt. Well, is she? I feel she might be one of the first BBLs because I remember when she went and got that damn X-ray on Keeping Up with the Kardashians to prove she didn't have the injections because you can see them. But what she knew, it wasn't going to show up on the X-ray because it was just fat.
Tricky bitch.
Wow.
Wow. Look at how she
Brilliant.
lied. Look at the conspiracy. Look at the work that she's done to dupe us. Do we trust her?
You know what? I'm still rooting for her on the low.
Yeah.
I'm going to like lift
You
her up and kind of drag her down like the queen I am. I want Kanye to stop it. I really do. I want Kanye to get well. I watched the third Kanye doc and I was frustrated by it. I did not like it. I felt like the people around him, while they might have turned the camera off and expressed that he was dealing with mental health, no one held him accountable. Nobody said like, bro, it doesn't seem like you're okay. No one really said it. They just let him go on and they listen, they turn it off. I feel like that's what's happening right now. I'm especially frustrated with Kanye right now because Kanye is now doing his whole Kim won't let me see my kids thing, which I'm not going to argue about. I don't know who he sees or not. She already said, like, stop lying. You was just here this morning to pick him up. But and you got to realize this is a media mastermind himself. This is like two media masterminds going at it before our very eyes. And he's sitting there and now he's saying, you know, that the world, the leftist world, will do anything they can to rip apart a black family and keep a black father away from his black children. And he really hates to see white privileged people do this. I said, no, you're not pulling the race card. When you married that lady and had 4 babies with her and talked about how incredible that family unit was and moved your ass into Calabasas, and now you're pulling the race card because you want all of us to get behind you? No, you're being an asshole, dude. Like, you're being nuts and you need to stop. And maybe if you would stop, you would see your kids more. That's how I feel. Sorry. I would be scared shitless to send my kids with him right now if I were her. And not that I think that he would ever harm them physically, but mentally, who knows what he's saying to them? You know, like that's scary.
I don't know. I don't know. To dismiss, to nullify, or to say, oh, you can't say anything about the cultural differences just because you married a white person.
I didn't say you can't say it. I didn't say you can't say it. I'm saying it's very convenient. You got to realize he's a mastermind. He manipulates the media all kinds of ways. I ain't seen a black woman with Kanye since, what was that child's name?
She was light skinned too, Joe.
Alexis.
Shout out to girl. You done dodged a bullet, girl. Girl.
Listen.
Shout out to you living your best life.
That's all I'm gonna say. And you're aligned with all kinds of politics that don't really serve black and brown people, but say less, King. Okay. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely not on Kim Kardashian's side. I'm not on his side. I don't know if telling him to be quiet is the thing to say. It's all just wildly crazy and strange, but also like not anything that most couples don't experience to some extent, but they just have the money and the power, the influence, and the attention that most folks
He's also seeking it, though. That's my thing. It's like he keeps talking about protecting his kids and wanting North off of TikTok and all this stuff, but then you are making all of the rest of this stuff so public for your kids to see one day.
I mean,
like the narrative that he wants to spin is going to be public.
Like her whole family's lives are made public.
I'm talking about specifically the of course, but I'm talking about right now. She's always been who she is, and I think she's actually been quiet throughout this process. I think she hasn't said much at all. It's him putting the screenshots up and everything else. But then you're saying that you don't want North exposed and this and that, and then I don't know, Disney's gonna profit off of her because she's on TikTok. It's just like, bro, just call your ex-wife or call your wife. Y'all still technically married, and like get a counselor, figure out how to co-parent and do this thing.
I hope they do.
Me too, because it's really sad for like these kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's like and for his legacy. It's just sad all around. And to honor the relationship, because I actually really do think that they loved each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sad. Like, what are you doing? And then Pete, poor Pete, it just caught up in the middle of this, but he going to space anyway.
What?
You ain't hear that? Pete's going to space on Elon Musk's spaceship. Dead ass. This is a real thing.
It's strange to me. All of them. They're all weird to me. Even Pete's
they
thing.
Live
like,
on a
I'm
different
gonna erase
universe.
my Instagram, but I'm gonna send this to my friend to go. Like I really liked the way he spoke to him in the thread. I really liked
Pete.
Yeah, I feel like he was respectable. I mean,
except that I'm in bed with your wife, and then the picture.
And then the picture.
But outside of that, he reeled it in.
He made himself look to be someone that really cares and like is concerned, right? And like is going to.
But is also fed up.
But like, why you had to share that with everybody? Why
he didn't share it.
But he didn't share it to his friend. Like that's like me sending you.
Oh, I thought Kanye posted
that. Pete's friend shared it. Which is weird. This
is just all sad.
It's like it's all performative.
Well, I send you screenshots all the time. So maybe I'm weird.
But then your friend to like...
If you posted it, I would think that was
I definitely think that because Pete erased his Instagram. So I think that he was like, yo, put this out so people can see like me. Like, this is my point of view. This is what I'm saying.
Ciao.
Anyway. And him saying he's in bed with his wife isn't doing anything for the kid. Like, it's all just like, y'all are all...
I think I hear that. But you know what? The petty in me understands. You just released a video where you're burying me alive. You have my head severed from my body.
Yeah, but you don't have to say that I'm in
It's just very strange.
With your wife. Like...
Well, that was also a threat. Where are you at right now? Where am I at? I'm in bed with your fucking wife. I probably would say that too. The lesser version of me would probably slap back in that kind of way. Like, I have been quiet this whole time.
All of it is.
There is a point where, like, if you really, like, you calling me skeet, there's so many jokes I can make off of that right now.
I get that, but I don't know what that...
It doesn't do anything.
For kids?
No. I mean, it doesn't do anything to, like, help the situation.
No, but not. Shout out to those people because they're all unwell. I mean, they're all not okay. God.
Well, speaking of unwell, now Kimmy is under fire, which was really interesting. And I wanted to speak on this, not about her, but she had that viral clip go around where she offers people the best advice in terms of business. And she said, basically, you have to get off your ass and work hard. Nobody wants to work hard anymore. And I saw that and thought, okay. And I get why people were so mad. But I just want to offer to people, I think that I think we can feel that way about ourselves sometimes, that we don't work hard, especially when we're on these social media accounts or, I mean, really there, when you're scrolling, when you're seeing what everyone else is posting. And obviously they're only posting the best parts most often of their lives, and it's a lifestyle, it's this, it's that, and it just feels like, damn, what am I doing wrong? And I just want to say, like, don't let Instagram or Twitter or social media do that to you, because I feel like it can brainwash you into thinking that you're not doing enough. And the majority of the people that I know work incredibly hard. Honestly, the people who work the hardest are often the people that have the least. And so I really caution, especially middle America, because sometimes you're between this place of like, when you're super impoverished, I feel like often you're working incredibly hard and you're like, I can't do any fucking thing else. Like, I literally can't do more than what I'm already doing. And it's just like capitalism is just eating you. And then you get to this weird place of like, oh, I have some success, right? Whatever that means financially. And then you feel like, but I should have more. I should be more than what I'm at. I should be working harder. There's always time to work harder. And I know that I feel that way about myself, or can feel that way. And I'm really working against that because I often don't celebrate the little victories that I do have. So when I heard that, I checked myself because I thought about the people like, you can't say everyone doesn't work hard. That's just ridiculous. And also, you started on third base and you ran in for a home run. Fine, like you had a leg up. But I also felt like, wow, maybe that's true. Maybe I should be working hard, and like started to do that thing that I do. So I don't know. I just wanted to say, does that resonate with you at all?
I just think that's the myth of capitalism. You think that how productive you are is going to result in wealth or like security, and that's just the biggest lie. And we all, in some way, shape, or form, are seduced by it. But it's not necessarily true. The richest people in the world ain't child. They ain't lifting a motherfucking finger. Everybody else is working for them, making them richer. So, but I think it's I think it's the myth of America, right? Like you pull yourself up from the bootstraps, you work really hard, and you can make it. You can make it in this world. And to some extent, we all have to, we're all seduced by that, and we all engage in it, and we all believe in it. And in some places that maybe that does reap results. But if you were to compare it to the actual wealth that can be made and is made by people compared to everybody else, it shows like, oh, something doesn't make sense here. That shit can't be real. That shit can't be real. Something right here. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, girl. Rest yourself when you can, and don't listen when people like Kim Kardashian say that shit. But at the same time, I think to some extent,
but also sometimes
her entire
work
life
harder.
Is around productivity. Everything that she does, she eats. She's just as wrapped up in it. I think to think, oh, you can't say anything about it, is to exactly. Deny her how wrapped up she is in capitalism, and she's just as seduced by it than anybody else. Everything she does, her life has been around productivity, mm-hmm. and what she does and what she can get as a result. So, child, we all in it. And I don't know. I get why everybody's like, "Oh, shut up, Kim," but I think she's just as, disillusioned as everybody else in so many ways of that narrative. But
I will say that Chloe had the best advice on there, and
what
she
Chloe
said,
say?
if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to go to a different room. I was like, I could dig it. I'm not mad at Chloe's response.
I just want to say one thing. I learned about this before we did this episode, but apparently Mace has come out of the church. He has come down, and now
he's not in the church anymore.
I don't know, but this nigga is slinging nigga, and he's speaking from his heart, and he's spitting hot fire, and it's all directed at Puff Daddy, and he's obviously frustrated with Puff Daddy's, image of love now, when Mace accuses Diddy of, exploiting Biggie's death and ripping so many and dismissing so many artists, fucking up everybody's career and profiting off of it. That's what he said. He said, yeah, I'm just a Harlem nigga repping down a Vegas strip with my own shug. You from Mount Vernon, a nigga, go and rep your own hood. I'm not hating on your Billy Worth. Right now, I'm only saying what you really work. You ain't no architect. You just a nigga who know how to market death. Go pay his mother what he really worth. Talking about Biggie Small's mother. And he just went in. Mace had bars. I said, what?
Mace always had bars.
I said, what in the ether? And he's coming at Diddy, and I wonder if Diddy will say anything, but I just want us to uplift.
Diddy is going to post another video on his boat and talk about love.
I want us to and that isn't that America? Isn't that just what we do? But I want people to go hard for this and to get it out and circulating so that Puff Daddy does have to address this shit.
We need to tithe even more. Tithe for Mace.
Child, he went in. I want y'all to listen to this, though. Oracle 2, The Liberation of Mason
Listen to
Betha.
her.
He said, listen, I'm about sick and tired of this bullshit.
Well, we're gonna pray for Mace. You know who I don't. This is a really unpopular take, I'm sure. I don't care about Juicy Smoulier.
Girl, nobody care. I said, nigga, what are you hooping and hollering
There are
for?
so many people that care. I
Ugh.
got into a conversation with a friend who was really frustrated with me about this. And I was just like, there are real innocent people in jail awaiting trial, wrongly convicted. That's who I care about. It's not that I don't care. It's that I'm not ready to like go protest for this dude. Like, this is not the Central Park Five. People are really upset because they don't feel that his crime fits the punishment. And I'm like, you lied under oath. You fabricated an entire story. You also like wasted mad taxpayer dollars on this investigation that was drawn out for years upon years. And like taxpayer dollars are wasted in the prison system all day, every day. Got it. But like you like really plotted this out.
And you still
And I'm
saying that you innocent.
yes.
Yeah, acting a fool.
And making himself a martyr. And I get and like there's like celebrities getting behind this. And I don't know, maybe I don't have a heart because I really used to be the person that's like, yeah, this just doesn't feel right, you know, and I don't give a fuck.
It's not that I don't give a fuck. It doesn't feel right. Like I feel like you were lying. You got caught with your pants down, acting for what? Like, why would you do that?
Maybe he's guilty, innocent. I don't know. I go back because I'm like, why would you do that? Are you well? And then he has people posting on his thing about how he's not going to kill himself. I'm like, where did that come from? Like, maybe there's more information that we just don't have. I don't know.
We need to have some love and kindness for what's his name?
I know
it's not Juicy, and you keep calling
Jesse. I can't not say.
You nigga, you straight face. You were like Juicy.
Well, that's what I can't not see that.
That's a Dave Chappelle. But listen.
That's what I mean. I usually have more compassion. We should
exercise it for him. But
I just don't.
My spider senses is not tingling for you.
But I think too, it's the punitive. I think people are like, oh, well, this is too punitive. Like it's the punitive nature of it. Like, I would feel differently if he apologized and was like, listen, I don't know what I was thinking. I was really trying to highlight the discrepancy within the Black community and the LGBTQIA community in terms of just everyday life and liberty in this country. We were in a time when, like, you know,
you better make that man's case. He did not. He said,
no, I'm saying, like, if he were to say that and own it, I might feel differently and be like, all right, how can he repent? How can what's the change behavior? But there's like no change behavior, and not that jail's gonna fix it, because I think that somehow he feels like he's this LGBTQIA Black martyr superhero now. And now it's just getting weird. It's like, it was better when you was just like singing and acting, dude. We didn't ask you for all this. It's just very strange. And I was shocked that one of my friends had such a strong response.
What do they say? What's their argument?
They were their argument is just that the punishment does not fit the crime. If he was white, there's no way he would get all that time and this and that. And I'm like, listen, I am not saying that is not accurate. What I'm saying is I don't have the capacity. For whatever reason, I don't feel compelled to fight that fight for him.
You said throw him away.
No, I'm saying y'all can fight it. I am just not going to be, because I'm usually down to fight the fights. And I'm not down to fight this fight.
He got what? What did he
150 days in jail. And like, he got mad probation. I don't remember the probation, which is its own hang up. But, you know, we hoping that Juicy finds clarity in this.
Stop calling him that.
Why? Oh, Jesse. Jesse's Smollier.
Wow.
Politics as usual. I don't know if we have time for that. I do want to just bring up Brittany Griner and WNBA. Like, she's like the second probably best WNBA player in the fucking world. And she is currently basically a hostage in Russia, and not enough people are talking about it. And it just is wild to me because there's already all this talk about how we don't respect the WNBA. People are frustrated. Well, I was seeing people like, well, why was she in Russia? First of all, there are so many WNBA players that play overseas because the average WNBA player is getting paid like $100,000 to $500,000. That is wild. Like, in comparison to what the men get paid, are paid rather? Are you serious? So yeah, they go overseas because they get paid a lot more. We don't even know if she really did have these oil cartridges in her bag. Like, that's how Russia plays these kind of
They're in
games.
the middle of war. Like Russia's
They're
like,
in the
I don't know what you're talking about. I do not care. I don't.
right,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
which is terrifying. There's also, I forget their names, damn, but there's two other Americans that are in prison in Russia. One is showing signs of tuberculosis, and the other apparently has lost all kinds of weight, and because those are the conditions within the
Yeah, it's a
within
mess.
the yeah. So people are really concerned.
What a terrible
And for Brittany,
time.
it's even worse because she is married, and that she's married to a woman, and she's gay. And guess what? Russia does not play that shit. So she could be charged up to 15 more years for being LGBTQIA if they decide to say that she was kind of
Oh my
skewing
God, this is
that
awful.
narrative within Russia. So there are so many leaps and bounds that our government is going to need to go through to like get to her. And I just wouldn't even want, I can't even imagine what those talks are like. Already, people are pissed because Ukraine wants a no-fly zone, meaning no planes fly over Ukraine. If NATO were to say that and Russia decides to fly a plane over Ukraine, then NATO now is in the position of, okay, if you're still flying your plane, we look weak if we let you. So now we need to shoot your plane down. Now we're waging war. And now we have World War III of Russia, Korea, China versus the West. So there's so much to navigate on an international spectrum. And then you have this woman that's being used as a pawn, just caught in it. And really, this woman and these other two men. But she is like, okay. And in Russia, you have to realize, like, she is very famous there. They actually acknowledge her as a celebrity, as a star. So this was like a big grab for them. It's just wild. I'm praying for her. I feel so sorry
What's
for
her
her
name?
family. Brittany Griner. I feel so fucking sorry for her wife. Her wife has been asked to not speak out in the US because our government is warning her, like, if you do that and Russia decides that you are, encouraging people to be gay or you're speaking out about, like, that can hurt her in the long run. So she can't even mourn or express herself in the way that she wants to. It's just all awful. So
Praise for them.
but it's pissing me off that not more people are talking about it. Like, this should be the biggest fucking news story in sports. And instead we're talking about Tom Brady coming out of retirement. It's just like wild times. So I don't know if people are getting instructions not to talk about it, if it'll fuck things up. I don't know.
It may be.
It
They
could
don't
be
want to
that.
provoke Putin. Don't provoke Putin, child.
The fact that this man has the whole world in a fucking chokehold,
Putin ain't playing
it's
that.
just wild. Anyway, so prayers for her. We do have voicemail. Should we save them for next week? Because we're already at an hour. Or what do you think,
I don't
Queen?
know. Is it just
I'll play
one? How about
one. There's three, but I'll play one. Okay, coming right up. Oh God. Can you write down where this is? Because I need to get all this extra noise out.
Good morning, Shanti and Antoinette. My name is Keisha, and I am in the suburbs outside of Philly.
Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Really write that down. That's where the lady is warning me about. My doctor is saying he does not need to go up my shirt to give me.
It sounds like
Shout out to her. She called like, you need to ask him for a different approach. I said, all right, queen. She was really looking out. Appreciate you. That is a tax person. Here we go.
Hey, Shanti and Antoinette. My name is Hillary. I've never called into a show before, so this is a little exciting for me. But I have listened to you guys pretty much from the beginning, and I'm kind of a podcast junkie. I've listened to like all the different friend shows out there. But the reason I wanted to call today was just to kind of talk about like the last few episodes that you had, where you had guests. This most recent one with the moms. Something that really stood out to me was when she was talking about her platonic male friend who was helping her out, and like being able to point to that as an example to her kid of like, this is how men should treat you, regardless of if you're sleeping with them or not. And the reason that I'm pointing that out, the reason that stood out to me is because I think just generally as a society, we put so much emphasis on romantic love, and kind of to Shanti's point on that same episode where she was talking about, you know, just that's kind of where we expect touch and where we expect intimacy. But I've personally been doing a lot of work in my own life about, you know, platonic intimacy and how does that really show up, and how can we make, you know, some of the most platonic relationships that we have might be some of the most important relationships in our lives, like our friendships, like our girlfriends, even just like witnessing you, Shanti and Antoinette, and your relationship with Jasmine and Amanda and all those girls, like that is something that's so valuable, and I don't think that we give it enough attention or credit. So I just wanted to call to say I appreciate you all, and I will see you all at the Roots picnic. I got my tickets a couple weeks ago, so I can't wait to meet you guys in person. All right, have a good day. Bye.
oh, word. We're gonna have a whole podcast. We're gonna have an episode around that because a lot of people want to talk about like platonic friendships and making friends as an adult, and like centering friendships platonic over conjugal relationships.
What? Okay. So, thank you so much for calling. We're going to take a break, and I'm excited to see you at the Roots, sis. We also need to figure out how to get those girls on here. We have to have a squad episode.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Get them all in a room. All right, we're going to take a break. Please, if you feel so inclined, give us a call at 215-948-2780. That's 215-948-2780. Also, make sure you join us on Patreon for additional content. And if you want to see our lovely faces, shout out to the two patrons that we have from last week, Dana C. and Farmer. You know who you are. And yeah, please rate, subscribe, share, do all the things, comment. Apparently you can rate on Spotify now, so go ahead and do that. Yeah, somebody wrote in and said they can rate on Spotify, so that's super dope. But Shanti, take us out, queen.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I feel so sorry for that Brittany Griner. She's been in that prison for
Bad timing. God damn.
She's been in, I know. She's been in there for a month. Nobody and no one from the US even knows where she is within that big ass fucking country.
That is a nightmare. A literal nightmare.
Like they have not seen
Locked up abroad.
and they have
Oh, what happened?
I know. Why? They haven't seen like any footage of her since her just holding up her little name after they detained her. I can't even imagine. I'm sure she thought like, all right, well, the government will come get me, it'll be fine. A fucking month later.
They at war. The U.S. is treading lightly around that.
They're trying to, because they really, honestly, I feel like Putin, did you hear what he's doing now?
What?
So he's bombing. So they're saying that they're bombing where they suspect that the West is bringing in, I guess, help. Like NATO's bringing in help for Ukraine, like food, like missiles, like, yada yada. But they're bombing right on the border of Poland. Like he's testing it to see, like, you guys will get involved. I really feel like this is some kind of, I'm scared, but this is some kind of like master fucking plan to get us like involved. And the dumbass US, all we keep saying is what we're not going to do. We're not going to have troops on the ground. The more you say that, the more, now he's going to be like, oh, well, I don't have to worry about that. I'm going to go harder. They're not getting involved. That's, like, he's bombing 12 fucking miles from Poland. Bitches run 12 miles in the morning.
Not bitches run 12 miles in the morning.
They do, like, that's across the street. And he's dropping bombs. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's like, poke the bear. Or like really trying to see, like, you gonna do anything? If not, I'm about to really go ham on these people. Kiev's about to fall.
It is.
Yeah, it's about to. They can't hold it. I want them to. I'm waiting for like this rocky story, but the part of it is like, how do you even get weapons in there? The U.S. can't fly them in because then you're waging war.
The U.S. did not want to do that.
No.
Do not want to.
Biden is like, oh my God, all I was supposed to do was end COVID. Now y'all want me to.
But.
And Sleepy Joe, you heard him?
Calling them Iranians.
Did you see Kamala? She was like, she's adjusted her seat. That lady, and she don't know what to do with herself. She was over in Poland and just started hysterically laughing at during the last question when they were asking, will the United States, I forget, I think taking refugees. And she was like, because
it's a mess.
They don't know what, they did not ask for this. But I'll tell you what, as many people that want to talk shit about, I should have said this, many people want to talk shit about Joe. If Trump was motherfucking president right now, he would be arming Putin.
Trump had a completely different relationship with Putin.
Yeah, because he was,
I don't
they
know
were in each other's fucking pockets.
Exactly. I don't know if it would be like this. It may not be like this.
Putin I think it would. I think it'd be so much worse.
I don't know. I feel
think
like
Putin was emboldened.
Had an actual relationship with Putin.
He had an actual relationship with Putin because they were both fucking corrupt. Trump would have stood by and let him do this shit to these people. Probably would have said, oh yeah, Ukraine's not a good place. Very bad people. You cannot believe that Trump would have interfered.
I don't know.
Oh my God. Tell me why.
Because he had an amicable relationship with Putin. Putin and Biden don't fuck with each other.
He didn't have
inflammatory.
No, Putin and it's not a Putin Biden thing. It's a Putin and all of Western world. Putin and Trump didn't have an amicable. Yeah. Putin and Trump didn't have an amicable relationship. Putin just knew that Trump would be his puppet.
Well, Trump also didn't have an amicable relationship with the West. He didn't represent the West, quote unquote, the same way that the West.
Why would you think that this would not be worse for Ukrainians?
Putin has issue with the West. He has issue with Europe. He has issue with NATO. He has issue with all these people that Putin didn't have. That Trump didn't have the same.
But Ukraine wanted to be a part of NATO. They announced that while Trump was still in office. They wanted to be a part of NATO regardless. His biggest issue is he doesn't want a neighboring country to be a part of NATO.
And that's wise of him. Who would want that? Knowing his relationship with the West, he would be crazy to not fight. He's doing what any other person would do. He's fighting. He's protecting the territory.
Ukraine is still not a part of NATO. They won't let it become a part of NATO because they thought this would happen. And so he has no reason to invade that fucking country because they're not a part of NATO.
Well,
They're a sovereign fucking country.
I think
he's trying to say that it's not a country. It's actually a part of Russia. It's the same thing he did with what is it, Kazakhstan or whatever the fuck. Like what?
I think
they're not a part of NATO.
He's going to do what he can to protect his territory, and he knows
there was no reason. His territory was not in jeopardy. NATO was not letting Ukraine in.
Ukraine was slowly moving in their theology and the way that they wanted to be governed was slowly moving towards the West. They were slowly.
They've been that way.
I mean, no, I guess I don't know the history. I know that they were just one, like, these borders drawn on the land. I don't know how
the Soviet Union dispersed and that fucking wall came down. Ukraine has been its own, like, governed place. It's its own place.
Right. But
like, that's what he's not getting. This is not your country,
to,
bro.
like, Russia. Still, there was a political connection with Russian, I guess, as the powers that be in Ukraine, the government is slowly changing and moving more and more towards being in alignment with Western values. And Putin's like,
being in alignment.
You guys are going to screw me. You're not going to be my neighbor. You're not going to be that close to me and expect me to just allow, you to have these same ethics as the West, because the West doesn't fuck with Putin and Russia doesn't fuck with the West. So he's just defending his territory, defending his culture, defending whatever it is that he's trying to protect. I don't
believe that for a fucking minute.
I don't think that it would be wise of him, as if he wanted to continue to be what he is and represent what he is, to not fight. He's just fighting.
Nobody was fucking with Russia. Everybody just lets Russia do its own fucking thing. For him to say that, Europe still buys like almost tons of Russian oil. They still do business with Russia. Even though they don't have the same political beliefs, they let Russia do Russia. They let Putin do Putin. They like, just don't come over here with your bullshit. Let's get this economy going. Give us your gas. We'll fucking buy it. Cool. This was the most unnecessary shit ever. Ukraine was not waging war. Ukraine is a small, like, their military is not equipped for this. They don't want beef with Russia. They just want to be a fucking part of NATO. Of course, and they weren't going to be. They weren't going to be. They weren't.
I think that the West, I don't know enough research about the whole NATO thing, but I think strategically Ukraine is strategic for the West and is strategic for Russia, and that's what Russia's trying to keep that from.
It's strategic, but my whole point was that it wasn't.
I think something
Ukraine
must have happened. I don't think he went to war for no reason. Something must have happened to provoke him.
I think he went to war for his own fucking ego. This is a legacy war. I think he from all the research that I've been doing and all the shit that I've been listening to, he longs for old Russia. He longs for it. And I also think that he hates Zelensky because Zelensky has the hearts of the Russian people. What you have to realize is Zelensky was a huge actor, president now, but was a huge actor. And that show that he had aired in Russia. People love him. But
his values are very Western focused.
I understand
which
that.
Which is a threat to him.
But what is the threat? They doing their thing over here and Russia's doing their thing and everybody's making fucking money.
Because they're so close. And because, again, just like you said, the Ukrainian people are changing their culture, right? They're changing to be like, we don't fuck with you, Russia.
But Ukraine is its own. No, Ukrainian people, it's not we don't fuck with you, Russia. They got mad family in Russia.
Right, but they wanna be, they're more national. They're developing their national identity, which is Ukrainian. They're like,
exactly. So that's not, but developing their own national identity should not be.
But it is to him. But it is to him.
This is a fucking legacy war, if you ask me. He wants to bring back this fucking Soviet Union. He wants to be the number one power. He's been vying to be the number one power. He's been fucking
Sure.
saving money for this war
Sure.
for years upon years upon
Sure.
years. He wanted Trump to be in his fucking pocket. He wanted Trump to be elected president. He wanted to dismantle this shit to be the top power. Point blank, period. Ukraine and Ukraine is honestly, in my opinion, a pawn to really get this shit popping.
And here we go. That's what imperialism does. I want all of it. I want it, and I want it to be sustainable.
It's just so
And you think
unnecessary.
you are a big power, I'm gonna be a bigger power. And let's go to war. Let's go.
It's like when in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's all it is, girl. It's Game of Thrones, girl.
But remember when who said it? I forget, but he said something along the lines of like, she'd kill everybody if she could rule the ashes or something like that. It's like, that's fucking Putin.
No, I think that
The fucking city's
that's
the
everybody.
country's gone.
Antoinette. It's not just. I think you should just be careful about you diving into this narrative that Putin's the devil, because whoever.
I'm not saying that.
Whoever the West.
I'm not disillusioned that the West is fucked up and that we go places and we
we
put our
do.
shit down and tell people how they're
Exactly.
supposed to live too.
Exactly.
I am very fucking clear. What we're not doing in this moment, what I'm speaking to, just because I'm speaking about Putin does not make me think that we're all good. We're not. What I'm speaking to is this motherfucker is killing kids.
Yeah, and
He's
Zelensky
ruining
supports Palestine who
entire-
kills kids. They're all. It doesn't. It's all. It. If we're trying to go from a point of justice and reason and humanity, all of them are excluded from that conversation. Every last one of them are excluded from that conversation because they all have blood on their hands. But if you're
of
if you're talking politics, if you're talking Game of Thrones, if you're talking territory, if you're talking influence, then
I'm not talking politics, Game of Thrones. I'm talking about what the fuck Putin is doing is fucking wrong. And you want me to say what he's doing is wrong, what he's doing wrong, what they're doing wrong? I'm talking about fucking cancer right now. So I don't want to be the person that's like, oh, but AIDS is bad too, and this is bad. In this moment, I'm talking about this. This is fucking
I think
wrong.
It is all a cancer. And it's just, you're just talking about the cancer attacking the brain. And like, cool, it's attacking the brain right now, and that's hemorrhaging, but they're all a cancer. And that's the
I've
game.
never
The
said
game
that wasn't the
game
case.
that's being played is how to maintain power. It's all strategy. It is Game of Thrones. Nothing has changed. So everybody is just ruthless. And who's the most ruthless person in this moment? Maybe it's Putin, and all eyes are on him. But like, all of them are ruthless. And it is Game of Thrones, and it's politics, and it's strategy. It's not humanity. It's not justice. It's not equality. It's not freedom for anybody, because it's just not. Because if that's the case, then why do you do what you do? Why do you back this
Why do you
person?
think that I don't understand that?
Well, for me, I can't be like, oh, Putin's a terrible person and it's his legacy thing. It's legacy for everybody. They're all fighting for legacy.
But when I'm talking about a specific person, it doesn't mean that I'm not saying that this is not the case for other folks.
Oh, well.
In this moment, I'm talking about Putin.
Okay.
But like, I'm very clear that the United States does the same shit. I fucking get it. Like, sorry, Bush waged a whole war because he didn't like how somebody treated his daddy, and then made up some shit, and we went over there and told people how they should live. I get it.
I mean, yeah, it's probably far more intricate than that, but yeah, it doesn't make sense. It all makes sense when it comes to power, resources, and alliances, and these are just years and years of this game that I don't know. But there's this growing thing of what the West represents, and then what Putin and Syria and China and all of these other folks represent. That's like, yeah, if it's going to be world war, it's these ideologies and these countries that are at war with each other. And Putin doesn't want to surrender to the West. He just doesn't. He doesn't want to be under their thumb. He doesn't want to be Saddam Hussein. He doesn't want to be Gaddafi. He's like, you're not gonna come and just fuck my shit up and then put your shit in there. You're not gonna be Afghanistan. That's not me. And I'll fucking fight.
I'd be really curious to know. I guess maybe it's inevitable, but to know what made him think that was coming. Because
I think he just sees how the West moves, and he's like, it's not happening, and I'm gonna protect it. I listened to something of him being fearful that the West, Zelensky already being close to that, but that Zelensky is going to be replaced by another person that's been handpicked by the West to do their bidding. And like,
do you feel that Zelensky was handpicked?
I don't know anything
by the West.
I don't know anything about his election. I just know, like you said, he was a star and he landslide winning. I don't know. I don't know how most folks are picked and come up. I mean, I don't know. But I think that there is something in the West going into places that they don't, they can't get what they want from and fucking it up and then replacing it with whatever leader there that's in alignment with what they want.
I don't think that that's what happened in Ukraine.
I don't know about Ukraine. I don't know what happened in Ukraine. I don't know.
With Zelensky, his whole rise to political fame was the show that he did in being a person of the people. The premise of the show was that he was like a history teacher or something, and someone snuck a video of him talking about how corrupt the Ukrainian government was, and then he rose. The clip went viral, and he rose to like this political stardom, and he ended up running for president. That's the premise of the show, and winning, and ruling, and like fixing the country. But it was a comedy. It was like kind of dark humor comedy, but like realist and like, you know, comedy can be brilliant and political and like, So it was that. And then he announced like, I'm actually going to run. Like, I'm actually going to do this now. And then he fucking won. And it was like, we are of the people. I really believe that the people of Ukraine love, from everything, again, this is also, I don't speak Ukrainian, so I have to listen to American podcasts when I'm hearing it. So that's something else. But like, I trust NPR, I trust shit like that, where it's just like, these are the Ukrainian people talking about him in this way. Obviously, I'm not listening to everybody, but I don't think that he's somebody that we put in place. But maybe.
This is a longer conversation, but let's talk about Afghanistan, right? Like, all right, we're gonna.
That is a whole mess.
But it's this idea it's the idea of we're gonna go topple this thing. Okay, Iraq, we're gonna go topple this leader down, and the people have been taken advantage of and exploited by this leader. So they're like, hey, yes, democracy. We want democracy, and democracy is this umbrella on which America does most of its work. Like, okay, you're going to have a democratic government. Women are going to have the rights that they need, yada, yada, yada. And all of these countries, especially in the Middle East, that of course the people want that. And I don't know anything about Ukraine's government and their politics. I don't know what the corruption is. I don't know what's going on in Russia for that matter. If, we know Russia's friends with China, and China's like the worst type of, human rights over there. So I have no idea, but I think it gets tricky when America goes in and talks about democracy, and we want these people to have, a democratic government, and we're going to go in there and we're going to topple the government that they had, and then they're going to choose their leaders. I think that has happened in multiple places. And from what I listen, again, I don't know. Putin's like, you're not doing that shit over here. You're not going to go.
I don't think anybody had any fucking plans to try to do that in Russia. If they did, they're fucking tripping. Well, because we know Russia don't play that.
Western values, if Zelensky supports Western values, which I think in many cases he does, all I know, the biggest one is that he supports Israel, which if you support Israel, that means you are in cahoots with the United States. You're, what's the big place that has women can't drive and you're a billionaire and they support
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Like, then you're like in alignment with these Western cultures. And so I think Putin's like,
Saudi
scared.
Arabia
Arabia
not a
supports
Western,
Israel.
right? But Saudi Arabia is not a Western cultured place,
Right, but we don't go in there and go try to change their politics, right? Like women
no,
can't even
because they have all our fucking oil.
Exactly. So it's not about it's.
But we're not. We don't lie. I mean,
But they
we're
do.
not about to say they're a
They
Western
do.
cultured place.
They do.
No, they
lie.
can't. They literally talk about Saudi Arabia killing that journalist and saying how awful it was.
But they're not going to not do business with them. They're not going to not support.
No, they
them.
still do business with
when they do
of
politics,
course, but they never.
support them.
The U.S. has never said that's a democratic Western
But
culture.
they're not that up in arms about what's going on over there that they're going to go and like regime change because the people need democracy like they did in where's Muammar Gaddafi from, in Libya, or like wherever they went and like, oh, we're going to go do this thing. But anyway, let's go. It's just tricky. It's just cut. It's Game of Thrones, baby.
We should run for office, and we should be like, we should run for office, and then we say like, there is no vice president. We're both co-presidents, and then you and I just fucking argue, just argue.
Give the people what they want.
Like, no. So what we agree on? I think we should just cut ties with everybody and work it out, figure it out. No imports, no exports.
Oh God,
we just gotta figure it out.
Cuba.
Right.
The people kill
like
us.
These stupid bitches.
No, man,
Ruin
no.
everything. All right. Wow, that was an aside. So why do you think I don't know that? Sorry. Mad. All right. You arguing about AIDS. I'm talking about cancer. We are not well. And we are back. If you are on Patreon, you just saw a very real aside. Shanti and I arguing about politics.
I didn't feel like
I know we were arguing. We were just having a passionate conversation. And I love those with you because you bring up such such good points, and you just get me riled up. And so this is a good segue into issues in friendships.
Wow.
No, we dead ass for at least 25 minutes just went on and on about Ukraine and Russia and international affairs and all the things. So, yes, issues that come up with friendships. I think this is a good topic. People have brought this up before. And Shanti and I were talking, and, you know, I have time for my friendships because I'm not in a, romantic relationship, but everybody knows. And maybe when I get one, I won't have all this time for you hosts to be working on these friendships. You know what I mean?
Like,
but in all seriousness, every relationship requires a certain amount of effort. It's like a car, it requires maintenance. You've got to change the oil, get a tune up here and there, rotate some tires, dust that bitch, vacuum it, wash it. A lot of dirty cars running around. And so Shanti and I were just talking about the complexities of friendships as you get older, as you come more into yourself, as your life changes, as different people become a part of your life. And so there were some things I jotted down. I want to go through like all of them, but issues in friendships that I thought of, and maybe there's more, is like when you don't like your partner's partner, or there's some kind of rift there. When you have a difference of opinion on politics, on vaccinations, on just like convictions. When your partner actually doesn't like your friends, when your access is different in terms of like your socioeconomic class, right? So when someone starts to make you know, a significant amount of more money, their life and lifestyle most likely will eventually change. And how does that affect how they relate to you, and what your lifestyle is? Where do you meet in the middle? Being kid free versus having children. When one of your, I can speak, when your friends start having kids, shit changes fast and furiously, and you're like, oh, from just what you do to the conversations to the times of day you can call to when you can't call, and to even the type of person you're going to get on the phone when you call, and the anxiety that might come up in you when you want to talk maybe about frivolous things, and you're like, this person has no time for this bullshit, like real life is happening. Then you have just a difference in lifestyles, right? I've talked about difference in convictions, but difference in lifestyles, they can be anywhere from sexual orientation. It could be from, do you keep your fucking house clean? Do I feel comfortable staying over there? It could be hygiene, personal hygiene.
Oh Lord.
It could be, listen, and also how you date, how you operate, things like that. You and I even one time talked about living together, and I remember distinctly being like, we don't have the same lifestyle. I would like date. I would want to date. How would I do that? You know, and we were like, oh shit, I forgot. And we like thought that was such a good idea. I was like, how would I date? Meanwhile, little did I know I'm not dating. And then jealousy. Jealousy comes up in friendships, and the grass sometimes looks greener. So I think a good place to start, Shanti, is not liking your partner's partner, and also your partner not liking your friend. We had a situation like that where
those dynamics were
I did not like him.
No, I mean, I'm talking about another friend. We did not like the partner. We had every reason not to like that partner. We didn't even know why, but we all had inkling not to like him. I think that comes up most frequently in relationships. And that's a really hard one. That's a hard one. Because I guess I had a partner that didn't like my friends. And I feel like I was young. It's tricky. Shout out to y'all 21-year-olds, because that same dynamic wouldn't have happened now. I was young. I was just figuring myself out. And he would bring up all these things that would make me second guess my friends and like our intentions with each other. And I couldn't see that he was threatened and jealous. And you have to be really solid in your friendships and yourself, because your partner can make you think like, if he doesn't like your friends, or they don't like your friends, you know, they'll have you second guessing and being like, oh, what? And I remember being so confused, because he would bring up these outlandish things, and I would be like, am I not seeing this? Or the most tricky thing, which now I understand to be abuse, was my friendships. He would insinuate that my friendships with my girlfriends would be a threat to
the relationship.
He and I's relationship. That like my friendship with you guys would result in me like cheating on him. And it's like,
with us, or
yeah, like, you know, that especially with, and this is tricky, a partnered person having friends that were single.
Okay.
And you guys are running around doing hood rat things, which would entice me to go run around and do hood rat things. And that made me be like, oh, you know, and actually like considering like, what is my life like without my friends? And I think especially young women, you entertain it for a minute. You're like, oh, like maybe this is true. I eventually realized that no, this does not make any sense. Like you have a problem, but it was hard because then I would like want to keep the peace. So some things I wouldn't share with you guys around what he was saying. So I was like in this hard space that I couldn't even be honest with you guys and reveal what was going on in our relationship to an extent with you guys, for you to be like, girl,
We could just feel the tension in you, like anxiety
yeah,
of like even like kind of associating with us, or associate if we did go out. Like, you can't post that I was like, don't post me.
right.
Don't do this. Like, I wasn't there. Like, it felt very secretive almost.
Joe, get up.
Interesting.
That was hard.
I mean, I've had situations where my friend, your partner, has not liked me. And I've definitely had situations where I have not liked my friend's partner. Or I didn't. I also had a situation where I liked my friend's partner, but I didn't think that they were the best for them. And I felt like they put her and I in a certain amount of danger. And I decided to distance myself. And I voiced that. And that was really difficult and really hard, because I caught a lot of flack for that. And I still stand by it. Maybe I didn't word it the best. I don't really remember. Or maybe, you know what, maybe it kind of felt like a surprise. Maybe, I think I was careful with how I worded it. But it's really difficult, because it can, what I realize is when you're partnered with someone, and most times when you're partnered with someone and you love them, you think like, this could be my forever person. This is my person. This is a part of me, right? And so you're viewing it in that way. And so when someone rejects that, it feels like you're rejecting them, or you're not happy for them, or you're hating on them. And while you, the friend, might be a part of their life, it's different when you're in a romantic, intimate relationship.
Hopefully when you're
as
young.
we see that. Hopefully when you're young, right?
I feel like if you're older, if somebody were to say that kind of stuff with me, I would be like,
but it's not even about saying that kind of. Sometimes you just don't like someone, right? I mean, not luckily, but I think the people that I have not liked were for good reason. I haven't been wrong yet. And I had a situation where I didn't talk to one of my friends for a year and a half. Stayed close with her family, but and it killed me over, a rift between me and the partner, and it felt horrible. And I think there's nothing that I would have done differently. There's nothing that I would have navigated differently outside of maybe maybe how I handled things, maybe how I voiced my concern. But I am one of these people where if I really love you, I'm going to voice my concern. Mm-hmm. I'm just not that person. And I know that some of the advice that I have heard is that, I don't speak about other people's man. But if I really feel like, it depends. If I just think like, oh, you could do better, come on, I'm not going to say anything. If that person's nice and fine and that's who you're picking, do your thing. But if that person is like a danger to you, or like emotionally, physically, whatever, I'm never not going to say anything. Yeah. If I feel like you're about to hurt yourself or get hurt, I have to speak up.
Yeah.
And I would ask that of my friends, in all honesty. Doesn't mean I'm agree with you. It doesn't mean that. And we can talk it out. Really, we can talk it out. And I'm sure I would be hurt. I haven't had anyone say something like that to me. I think you guys, there was a certain person that was in my life, a couple of them, that you didn't love. But I think that you all knew that it wasn't going to last. The Doom one. And that you were just like, I can't wait till she gets out of this kind of vibe. So we'll be with her. We'll rock with her, but she'll get out of it eventually. And I appreciated that. But I do look back and wish somebody would have said like, this is not good.
We didn't know. I didn't know.
Not with the most recent. I'm talking
about the original, the
Doom.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know. You know, we were 20 something and the relationship like had the same thing been happening and you're the age now and that we have had the experiences that we had, I would have been like, girl, get the like, are you?
What you doing?
But we didn't know, and we were like playing with these ideas of like, in so many ways, Antoinette, especially after having the conversation that I had with Aaron, that should have never happened. You were being taken advantage of.
No.
You were being groomed in a particular way, your damn self. Like, when I really think about it and I talked to her, I felt sick to my stomach in so many ways because that was just, but we didn't know. And we're like, oh, we grown, we mature. Like we deal with deep concepts right now. Like this is deep, this is real. Like,
no.
Like that nigga should have been, we should have,
everybody should have been like,
everybody should have. Anyway,
everybody.
That's the whole.
But I also I would hope that now you would, like, anybody that I bring around you, like, I would want to know your opinion, and I might not like it, but I would want to know it, and I would want us to be able to talk about it because I want to know what to look out for as well.
I think when you have pre-existing friendships, it's very. I think that's a conversation that should be had. And hopefully you have a relationship in which you can have those hard conversations. Now, a warning though, to all the young folks, to the women now, if you've had a solid foundation of friends, like that's your girl, those are your people, and a man comes into this and he doesn't like your friends, I feel like it's a major red flag, right? Because it's like, I don't know, unless you got really raggedy friends and like in your heart, you know, you have raggedy friends. But in my case, if a man came in and I could smell he was threatened by my relationship with you, or like he felt weird around my friendships and like commented that you having close relationships and talking to and having a separate strong bond with somebody else, and he's like weirded out by that or like doesn't like that, I feel like that is an indicator of that you really got to like pay attention to that, because the fuck you gonna come into my, like, this is a foundation and relationship I've been building and has fed me. You should also want that for years.
Right. Your partner or she or whoever, they should want that for you. Your partner should want you to be surrounded by people that love you and want to add on to that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think it's a problem.
What about access and socioeconomic? I think it's so interesting because in our friend group, obviously we have one friend that does pretty well for herself. But on the inside, she's just like kind of cheap and...
You would never know.
You would never know. And I think that it's great. And I realize that now that I think about it, I think that she has navigated and made that really easy for us because she is that way. And I don't know if she always wants to be that way with us. So I one time asked her, like, do we hold you back sometimes? Like, are there things that you want to experience that you can't? And she was like, no, I'm cheap, da-da-da. But I did feel like on the trip when we were looking for places and I was like, you know, writing everybody on the side, like, what about this way? What about this place? And it kind of came to a head there where it became clear of like, oh, she can afford some shit. And our broke asses can't. But she wants to go on this trip with us, so it's tricky. And like, it did get a little like, you know, like we had our little group chat call that was a little strange. And then we had a great time on the trip. But I do sometimes think about that. But I think that she's navigated it really well. And this is for anybody and everybody who, I'm usually in most of my circles the poorest one. But like up here in like my New York circles, but no one has made me
raggedy bitches in Philly.
No one's made me feel that way because we just like, if somebody gets it, they get the bill and they don't say nothing. It's like, no, it's fine. I already took care of it. Ha ha ha. Or we just split everything. Like, I really appreciate in our friend group that we'll go get Ethiopian platters and just split it and say, how much was that? And everybody just puts their little monies together. And if we feel like there were times when we knew somebody didn't have it and you just got it if you could, like nobody talks about it, you just get it. And I think that there's a level of self-awareness you have to have when navigating money. And a level of honesty too that you have to have, because you can really take advantage of somebody, like if you have somebody that's like, no, I'll get it. I've seen people play the victim of like, oh, I'm broke. Oh, and you're not fucking broke, but you know that this friend is generous and they take advantage of that. And so I've never felt that way in our group, but I don't know. What are your thoughts around this of like navigating money? Because you had money when we were younger. Was like, I was poor. You was balling because you were serving and stuff. And I was wow.
I was okay. I mean, but then I was super broke when I had JoJo. But anyway, I think now it's one thing when you have, like, all of us kind of know what's going on with each other, right? Mm-hmm. It's interesting when you are building new friendships, because I have friends that have money now and like, they're like, oh, let's go out to eat. Or like the activities that they want to do require money that gives me pause. No, I just spit everywhere. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I do it all the time, Queen. Continue. Can't see it.
That gives me pause and gives me anxiety and makes me want to, like, maybe I don't want to go out with them, or I can't kick it with them as often because I'm not ready. I'm not yet ready to have the conversation with them around money, and I also don't want to, I'm just not ready to be like, oh, you guys think because I have stable, I have a lot of money, but that's actually the exact opposite of what's really going on. I went to KOP and I just couldn't make a sell, and I'm anyway, it's just like, that's a tricky one for me. It's a tricky one for me because
what if they said what if you might be, and this is just a maybe, and if they didn't, they didn't. But what if they were like, oh, well, we could do something else?
I'm sure that they would. But it's just the coming out to be like, you guys make a lot more money than me, and I don't have money to go out. I can't pay $100 going out to eat. Like, I have a budget.
Bitch, me neither.
I like
$100.
But it also feels like it's hard. It's hard. Burden. I can't say that there was a point in time, especially when I was serving, I was like, say less, we balling out, and you have fun that way, and you like, it's fun and it's free, and it's hard to feel that way, especially when you're getting to know somebody and you kind of need that activity. It's like, you don't necessarily want the pressure of like being somebody's house in close proximity. You need the activity to build the friendship around, to like, it's costly. It's an investment in some ways. And I guess we have to, and I need to especially like develop ways of making that known, with that is honest, but also like, but I still want to be your friend, but like, can we walk in the park and get coffee? Maybe get a Happy Meal, whatever. I'll come fed. I'll bring a sandwich.
Like, yeah. I got these Trader Joe's fucking cereal pops or some shit. You. Well, I hear that. I can sometimes feel like a burden on people if I don't have it.
Right.
Yeah, I can feel like that. So it is tricky. And I what I've recently started to do is to say when I feel like that. Like, I'm uncomfortable. I say I'm uncomfortable.
What do you
feel
say?
Like
I'm uncomfortable.
Bitch, I just told you.
While you're at the restaurant with the card, like, what do you do? Like, when do you say that?
Well, my girlfriend Angie and we go back and forth with the bill, and I will try to cover a bill, and then we'll end up doing something else, and that's always higher, and she fucking gets that bill, and it makes me so, and I'm like, oh, and I know that was more expensive because I'm not a big drinker, but usually we'll eat. I won't really have drinks when we eat, and then she'll be like, oh, you want to get a drink? And then we'll get drinks, and drinks are always more expensive than food. Like, and it's just, she'll do that and I'll say, like, I'm uncomfortable. And she'll be like, bitch, you can get the next one. And so we'll work it out in that way. Or I'm comfortable enough with her where I'll say, like, girl, I'm broke. I got this much amount of money I could spend today. I did my budget spreadsheet. But I've developed that relationship to be comfortable with her. And I think I also offer investment in other ways of like, how can I support you? She has a business, Ariane's. How can I support your business? How can I, do things where it's like, I show you that that I'm not taking advantage of you, that I care, that I this. And then, sometimes it is a matter of just saying, like, look at Jay. Jay be fucking balling sometimes. I'd be like, Jay, I love you to death, but we can go for a walk. Or if you want to come work out. And then she'll be like, girl, I'm buying food. If you eat it or not, you eat it. I don't care, but I'm buying it. It's done.
I feel that way.
That kind of thing.
I remember when I was making a lot more money, and I do like I'll cover it. I do like that. I don't always like to go halfy. It's like, no, I got this. And because it's going to happen. My motherfucking words is March 14th, 10/20 on a Monday. It's going to happen. I would love if I had it like, I love when I was serving and they'd ball out. They'd ball out. And then it's like, I got this. I got y'all. Like when you coming with me and I know my friend's making less money, yeah, I'm buying drinks. Like the fuck? Of course. If I have it like that.
Right. And I think that kind of exchange comes with trust. Because again, you could be taken advantage of.
Oh, yeah.
But it also comes with like a closeness and a vulnerability of like, you had enough knowledge to know that like this person don't have it like this right now. But also it's cyclical. It's like sometimes somebody up, sometimes somebody down.
Mm-hmm.
What about having kids versus not having kids and friendships? How does that change the dynamic or maybe create some interesting dynamics?
I think the most painful part is when you first have your baby. I think that's the at least for me, that was the most painful part. I'm used to it now. I'm used to my restrictions that I have. JoJo's older and then I have a little bit more freedom now. So it's just like me maneuvering or like asking somebody to watch her. Even that can be hard sometimes.
You don't even ask people to watch her like that.
I mean, I don't got money to go out with you anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Girl, you don't stop playing with me.
You gotta call out nowhere. I'm not moving and shaking the way that I wanted to when I was younger, but it was really hard for me. And I think that ties into the jealousy part. It was the hardest thing that it was like, I just felt like my life was in a vacuum. It was done because I just didn't have the freedom. I didn't have the financial freedom that I had anymore, especially when you're young. So shout out to all the young mothers that had a baby and your life is like completely done.
Were there moments, I'll never forget one time when I was in Philly and this was, JoJo might have been 3 or 4.
Oh no. 3 or 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said to you, I was like, oh, do you want to da-da-da-da? And you were like, oh yeah. It was like something like lunch. And I was like, oh, okay, is JoJo coming? And you were like, JoJo is 3. She's always coming. And I was like, and I could tell you were pissed of like, why don't you know this yet?
Oh.
Like she's 3 at this point. What is wrong with you? Of course she's coming. Where the fuck else would she be? And I was really just asking like, oh, I didn't know if she'd be over your mom's house. Like I didn't know. But I recognized it and like I have to do better at, I guess, making sure that I consider her as a part of you, right?
My third arm at this point.
Right. And so, but I caught it of like, oh, I just pissed her off. Wrong day. So do you feel like there were times within your friendships, not necessarily specific to me, but where you felt like your friends could have done a better job of supporting you as a mom or understanding what being a mom brings? God,
Amanda had Sean, right? So like I had an ally. I had somebody that was like, girl, we ain't doing nothing. Like, come over to the house. We ordering chicken wings and pizza. And I was like, oh, okay. But anyway, she was an ally to me. She was somebody that like I didn't feel left out of. And her son was 7 months older than mine. So it was like, we had that camaraderie, we had that connection. So I didn't feel isolated. I do think that I just wanted to be able to have the freedom to do whatever I wanted to do. You know, I wanted to just go up to New York, and I was breastfeeding. Like I couldn't. There was always these reminders that like, oh no, you have to go back home. And I can't, even to this day, I can't I never felt like you didn't understand, but you don't have a kid. So it's like, you don't understand. And I don't resent that. I can't make you understand.
It's so interesting because when Amanda had Sean, I was super present. I was like always at her house because that's my godson. That was the first baby, and I was hype boots. And then I was also dating the devil in Philly at the time. But I recognized when you had the baby, when you had JoJo, I was like, oh, shit's really changing. 2 of y'all got kids. Wait. And I was up here, and I remember being really lonely and being like, and when I would come to Philly, I already knew what we were doing. We were going over Amanda's house, and we were ordering pizza and chicken wings and sitting there watching TV. And I did miss like dancing and stuff like that. And I just remember feeling like, oh, all right, you gotta adjust. And then JoJo was a really hard kid. JoJo was a really hard kid. So being around her wasn't always very pleasant. And I just remember that was when we had the blog, we were making bows and selling them by hand. We were making those fucking hair bows, selling them by hand, and just feeling like this is not sustainable. And then there was also the partner not liking me and stuff like that. But I think something that I have felt as being like the person that doesn't have a kid, because at this point, like, Jasmine doesn't have a kid, but her partner has a kid, and she let have a boy, so that's, whatever. But I think that there is a level of longing. I won't even lie, of like longing for everybody to have that freedom, and just being able to like just be, us, and they're getting older, so like we're back to like being in the room, and the kids might be playing in the other room. We're talking a certain kind of way or whatever. But I also think that there's a level of, I think that I can be looked at as, oh, your life is so much easier because you're single and you don't have a kid, and everything's easier. And that frustrates me at times, where I'm like, that narrative is annoying. And maybe it's true. I'm sure it is. And I'm sure it's probably really annoying for you to hear that, because you're like, bitch, you don't know. You don't have a kid. But I think that it's just different, because I think that, I don't know. I was the person that kind of wanted one, like, and just saw things differently. And then I don't know. I don't know if I'm expressing this right, but I think that there had to be some work done on both of our parts to acknowledge and understand where we were in our lives, and that the two could coexist.
I'm really grateful for the blog, right? Because that kept us in daily contact. That kept us in really like tight in our relationship, that we didn't separate in a way that we possibly could have. And then it was like a source of me not feeling eaten alive by motherhood. It was like this other outlet that it was like, oh, there's this other thing that I can build and pursue. So I'm grateful for that. I don't ever think your life is easier. I don't think that. I mean, I don't think my life is harder either. I'm not like, it's just, you just don't know. Like when you'll make comments like, this lady at this job, like I know she got a kid, but, and I'm like, I can't wait for her to have a kid so that she can be like, oh, because you just, it's just, but I'll never be like, girl, you have no idea, because maybe it'll be a different experience, but until you have a kid.
And to be clear, it wasn't, I know she has a kid, but it was, I know she has a kid, but why does that mean that I have to then do all of her work?
True.
Because she has a kid?
Because she got a kid. And when you have a kid, perhaps you see it's like, oh. And maybe it won't be. God willing, you have this support system, then it's like an easy breezy thing. But I just, I can't give you that point of reference ever, regardless of what I say.
All right. And then no, there's two. Difference in lifestyles. You and I are different. Did you know that?
Girl, no, you're not.
Did you know that? And somehow, I think we're very different. You know, we just got into a 30-minute aside on politics, you know? I think that's probably where we're different. I think we're different on just almost every way, but then we're also so similar, because I think the thing that when you're very different from your friend group, and as you grow, right, as you get older, you're going to become probably even more different as you experience life and they experience life. But I just think that you always have to respect that person's choices and that person's journey. I hate that word. And that person's just a way of being, and them, you know? And I think that's just like the foundation of how you navigate differences, and also be curious about why you're different and what makes this person see it this way. Be open to their varying opinions and want to understand it. What about you?
Appreciate it, right?
And
like I'm
appreciate
not.
it.
I don't feel. I think we're different in a lot of ways, but I think we're very similar in what you like, the curiosity or like the excitement that comes from learning new things or like discovering new things, or the beauty in life and seeing that in people and like sharing that. I think we're very similar in that way. And I think I appreciate, I'm not rubbed the wrong way by the things that we're different in. It doesn't like, I'm not threatened by it, nor I don't feel stifled or like oppressed. I guess, yes, everything that you just said, there's like a respect and a space that I hope you feel I offer you that I don't, that I don't feel you either. It's just like, I appreciate it. It's like, I know we're going to disagree on this thing, but like, I know that, and that's fine. And that's fine. That's just her way of being. And that's cool. Like, I can expect that. I appreciate that.
All right. Last one is jealousy.
Jealousy.
Is that that's loyalty. Okay. I was like, is that? So, were there ever times in any relationship, friendship, that you felt jealous of me? It's like,
I think it's weird. Just natural. I think that's naturally gonna. What's going on here? You are frozen.
You were frozen. Go ahead.
Okay. Am I back?
You're back.
Whoa.
God was like, don't do it.
I think that's just a natural thing that happens between people. Yeah.
How do you define jealousy then?
For me, jealousy has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me, and like so in ways that you may show up, make me feel insecure about my way of being. And it's just an opportunity to I think, and it doesn't happen all the time, but of course it's happened in our relationship. I think it just is an opportunity for me to be like, well, girl, why are you feeling insecure about this thing? Or like, what work do you need to do to like stop feeling this way? Because it doesn't have anything to do with Antoinette. If anything, it's like a moment, a place of a call for you to admire somebody and to like name your admiration versus being like getting small or like wanting them to mute themselves in a certain way while also muting yourself. But jealousy just, especially for women, jealousy comes up. I feel like that's like our biggest hurdle as women sometimes, because we're so I think attention, we've been conditioned to think that attention equates to what our value is. So if somebody's getting more, I think I was just jealous of Allen Iverson.
Excuse me?
I think I'm like an Allen Iverson, like, and that's just a joke, but like an example of like somebody gets more attention in a certain place, or
you were
somebody, I mean, just these basic things that happen with women that, you know, we're triggered to be like, oh,
did he love me?
Yeah, he doesn't love you, but that's just like an example of something.
You know what's funny is that you said that, and there's this.
Sorry,
JoJo. I think there's this. This is the last one. Tell her you'll be done soon. There's this clip of Jim Carrey. Who's the guy? God, the other guy who did like Borat.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember the actor's name, but he's at a round table. It's like Jim Carrey, Tom Hanks. What's the black boy that's amazing? Don Cheadle.
Oh, Don Cheadle.
And Jim Carrey looks at that actor and he goes, you know, I had a conversation with myself where there was a point where I was either going to be envious of you or admire you, and I chose to admire you. And he was like, no, really. He was like when you are the voice of something and then someone else comes up and they're the new voice, you have to take a step back and be like, and really evaluate what that is and what you're feeling. And he was like, and I thought I would feel better to just admire what you were doing. So I think that's interesting. I think for me with you, I don't think that's why I asked, how do you define jealousy? I don't think it was jealousy. I think it, like you said, it wasn't jealousy, but it was admiration, and also made me reflect on my own choices of like when you stepped out and stopped serving and did Sable and was like, I'm going to make a fucking way. I don't have a way, but I'm going to figure it out and make one. And I was like, damn, like she really took a leap. And it was a leap that terrifies me.
Well,
you know me.
You do very good at KOP, so.
I didn't
You do very good at kick up pressure, so it is
I hate that you call it KOP so much.
So, girl.
Shut up. But I'm serious. No, you've done this thing, and I'm like, this is incredible. And I think that's such a great point, Shanti, is when you are feeling that in your friendships, recognize that it is about you. What is it bringing up and why? What are you really...
And also take that moment, like you said, to morph that envious energy to admiration, right? To like be like, oh, this person is showing up beautifully, and like...
And to be inspired by it.
Right.
Of like, yo, maybe I can do this too, or maybe there's a way.
I think jealousy also, I mean, even you shared something about somebody that said something to you. There's this idea, jealousy wants to feed this idea of scarcity, of like, oh, this person has this is their moment, I'm not going to get mine, or there's not enough room. And I feel like that has to be nipped in the bud, because you automatically think, oh, this can't happen to me. Like there's this scarcity thing versus being like, wow, there's room for me. Look what this person's doing. You
If
know,
they did it, I
my
can.
time's coming. You know, let me. Yeah, there's room for all of us to eat. It's so dope that I have somebody that's eating right now that can like show me or like can be an ally towards me versus being like being scared and like wanting to hold on to something or like thinking that it's out being automatically grasped out of your hand versus like, oh, this shit is wild. But it calls for you to do the work of changing. It's just information.
In all of this, what I'm hearing, because we get so many questions about how to make new friends as you get older. And that has to be its own episode, right? We'll come back to that. But I realize, and the more and more we talk, this is the time we put in. Like, you can make a new friend, but you're not going to hop, skip, and jump into this level of communication, understanding, and like this work. Like, you got to do it. So you can meet somebody that you kick it with, that you enjoy, that, you know, you vibe with. But if you really want to have that kind of soulmate friend, it takes that soul work. It really does. Because all of this stuff is, I think a lot of, all of this is something that I think folks would shy away from in terms of having these kind of conversations of like, I felt jealous at this time. This is what came up for me. And even being able to identify it. So, shout out to us.
Look at us. I next episode I'll have it. But the real love thing, the real love book, she talks about when you have this person in your life that may bring up these things, or it's a difficult area, to how to morph it into you wanting to see them win, or like it's loving kindness. It's like, you know, I don't know, like, you know, Antoinette deserves all of the attention and all of the admiration and all of the rewards of the work and the generosity that she puts out into the world versus, and like you have to like create this mantra when this stuff comes up versus you being like, whatever your triggers may be, so that you can activate that when that hint of jealousy comes up. That's like whatever it is, because it takes work, child. It's kind of corny, but or when you're having bad thoughts about somebody, like anybody, you know, it doesn't even have to be a close friend. When you're just having bad thoughts about somebody, just learn how to change that to be like
Drake and Common.
Yeah, I can't. Fuck Drake.
Like
his birthday
was
today too, or some shit like that. Not Drake. Common. I have more space. You don't like Drake. I have more space for Drake.
I do not have space for Aubrey. God bless him.
What's Common's name? Oh,
what is Common's name?
It's a dumb name.
So dumb. Look that up right now. We got in this episode, y'all. We thank you for being here with us. We are happy to be back together. Like we never left.
Not Lonnie.
Lonnie? He fucking tried
Lonnie
it.
Rashid
Lonnie Lynn?
Child.
Go
Lonnie
to hell,
Lynn.
Common. Straight the hell. No, that's terrible. That's terrible. Lonnie. No, they didn't.
His birthday was yesterday.
Lonnie Carant, Jaman, Shakaya, Rashid Lynn.
What?
Don't play with me. Oh, no, Shuka. Lonnie Carant, Jaman.
Why we hate this band so much?
Shuka, Rashid Lynn. All right. And with that, we are out. Why is that his name? Irritated. Let me stop this.
I don't know how.
What? I don't know how to stop it.